Hey family, we are live, broadcasting live. This is the Conversation Room 101. Make sure it's only adults in the house. I need your mind to be open, prepared, and relaxed. Welcome to our home. Take your shoes off. We got some rules we need to go over. Be kind. No cursing in the chat. If you want to curse, call in. And no shouting out other channels. That's a no-no. We got one other rule. There is no judging our guests. It will not be permitted. Zero tolerance. And if so, you want to do that, guess what? We got security. And we will escort you out. Because over here, hashtag we don't care. We're going to be one big family. We're going to laugh together sometimes. We're going to cry. But we definitely going to pray. I thank the Lord above for everything. I lift him up and give him the glory. But you guys, right now, we're going to get our popcorn. And then we're going to see what's going on. And let me just park my car. And I'll be in there in a minute. I'll see you real soon.
The Copyright Disclaimer Act. The Copyright Disclaimer Act under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news, reporting, teaching, scholarships, and research. Fair use is used permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Like, share, subscribe.
Do you want to know? Well, I've been thinking about you. And I think I have to listen. Because the sun is up, it's a beautiful day. My beginning will be as bright as the sun. Come, won't you come along? And it feels so right, it's like luck is raining on me. Go and follow your heart, doesn't matter how far. There is so much love to give, something's telling me this time. Baby, baby, now I know. Baby, baby, gotta go. There is so much love to give, something's telling me it's right. When you came to me, who are you? It's you, yeah, boy.
Where does the fault lie on you?
Hey family, how's everybody doing? I was trying to do something, but you guys, let me get my, where's it at? Media onset. Let me get my background in here. Okay. Now, we're here. First of all, I guess we have to do the overlay first. And I guess I changed the overlay. Anyway. So how's everybody doing? Good afternoon to you guys. Good afternoon. Hey, Amari, how are you? Hey, Lisa Taylor, how are you? Ruby Turner, what's going on? Monique Hall is in the building. I came on. I know it's a crazy time, but it's all good. I was looking, and I guess we got to have some time to talk about the Naziah case and what's going on with it. So I wanted to share that with you guys because Jarvis, we just need to put some time into Naziah Harris' case by itself. Because nothing's going on with the Emmanuel case right now, but I told you guys that Jarvis had got more charges against him. So this is what it's saying. A Detroit man who is awaiting trial on charges connected to the death of Naziah Harris has been charged with the sexual assault of another girl. Jarvis Ramon Butts, 42, has been charged with first-degree criminal sexual conduct and second-degree criminal sexual conduct of a child who was 8 years old at the time of the assault in 2021 and in 2022, Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy announced. So I need to find out what all did Kim Worthy say. I wanna get her perspective out of this because she's dropping these bombs and we're trying to figure out, okay, this is another child. This is not the same kids. This is another child. And they said that is related. They didn't say his child. They said related. The alleged assault happened at an auto repair shop on the East Warren Avenue in Detroit, prosecutors said. Butts was arraigned on Friday in 36th District Court in Detroit on the latest charges and then remandated to jail. A probable cause conference is set for October the 8th, and the preliminary exam is set for October the 15th. So we got a little time. That's why a lot of his stuff has been moved because he's got these other charges now. And they are building a case against this man. Now, we all say, oh, we already know about the charges. But remember, he was supposed to go to court in October. This is why they moved that down the road, you guys. Okay, we're just going over it. It says, Bud is currently awaiting a jury trial set for February. So his jury trial for the Naziah Harris case. Hey, Zena, how you doing? Good afternoon to you. So we want to know when was the trial set for another date. That is now the date, you guys. So if you guys didn't know, they're not going to have the jury trial in October. The jury trial will be in February. It's actually February the 23rd, 2026, on charges that includes murder in connection with the homicide of 13-year-old Naziah Harris. That trial was at one point scheduled for October the 6th. Okay, so then postponed. Prosecutors say they could call 40 or more witnesses. The defense plans to call at least 10. Naziah was last seen getting off her school bus in Detroit on January the 9th, 2024. Her body has never been found. So, we always want to know why something has taken place, why they're not doing the trial, the jury trial, October the 4th. And while they didn't cancel it, they just rescheduled the trial, postponed it, actually, the correct word, to February the 23rd. And that's because he's going to have a probable cause conference set for October the 8th. See, here's the thing. If he's doing a jury trial if it would have started October the 4th, and they got these other charges, newer charges on another potential victim, allegedly, and they need to get those things set up too. So he's getting hit with everything. Kim Worthy is putting her foot down on this one. Because remember, I wanted to know, why would they postpone that court date? Now, we knew that this okay, so I told you guys this, and and I'm and I knew one of his daughters was a victim. We knew that. And that's the oldest one. We don't know we don't know her name, and we don't need to know her name. We just don't. Let the child I mean, even though she's grown now and she's 20 something, it is very emotionally tormenting, a tragic that child, other people talking about what her father did to her. You know, I mean, and we're strangers. It's not like we can really protect this child, shelter this child. She she's done lived with this for a long time and not told nobody. So that's one. And then you got to think, okay, so who is this other child that is related? Could this be his daughter, his youngest daughter that's from Shannon? Or is this the cousin, Marquita's daughter, that has came forward and said, because remember I said, you can't be around these kids and being a kid yourself, and she done went with this man to the store by herself before. Marquita's daughter, this is who I'm talking about, and thinking that this man didn't do anything. And I don't know for sure if it's his daughter or just they say related. And we all want to say it's his daughter. Well, we know that Marquita's daughter did not say that he did anything or whatever. And and I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I believe that he did. I believe that she was not, any child that was around this man was a victim. Period. I'm just saying, even the boys. And I've always said that because when you've seen how these people that have this problem with touching kids, they don't stop because it's not their child. They don't care. It's a child. And the way that he was moving around, it seems to me that he sensed some kind of power when he could manipulate these kids and finagle with them, play them against each other, play the kids against the mom, play the kids against the aunt, play the kids against the grandma, play the kids against grandpa, play the kids against school, get in their heads, because he knew for a fact when he deals with an older woman, they're going to talk stuff back to him. Yeah, that was his whole cover up. Have an older woman, you know? But his whole taste into what you would call his appetite was not older women, to be honest with you. Everybody, he has an appetite of, some people be like, oh, he just like slow women. Let me tell you guys something. And I promise you, if you really pay attention to what I'm saying, you'll get what I'm saying without getting all gore with the conversation. I don't like to put down women, okay? I don't. But at the end of the day, any woman that he came in contact with, he was going to try to talk to them. Okay? So don't think that he knew that the women, like, oh, he only picked the slow women. No, any woman that gave him the time of day, whether she was slow or not, he was going to try to enter in her past. Not that he wanted to be with her, but to be around any little kids. Any little kids. Because he know that that woman say, oh, I got to run to the store. Could you watch Amy for me? And so when she goes to the store, you know, he picking Amy up by underneath her armpits, but he's fiddle-faddling with her breasts. He's setting Amy on the lap, bouncing her up and down. He tells Amy, oh, you spilled this on you. Go change your clothes. Put this on. Let me put some lotion on. He's doing all of that. And the kid, even though we teaches our kids, don't let nobody touch you here. Don't let nobody touch you there. You know, this man was making his way to just touch a child and look and see how they respond. See how far he can go. See what he can do. Yes. And when the mom come back, he sits there and act like, I'm the good father. I love my kids. I'm going to go pick my kids up. You know, I want to spend time with my kids. In all reality, everybody that got on the stand said, he's a good father. He's a good father. They let him around their kids. And they sit back and go, man, you know, I wish my kids had a father like him. He go pick up his kids and got my kids and he just loved kids. You know, they let him use the car. They let him use mom's car. You know, when the one lady that used to be in relationships with him, knowing good and well they're not in a relationship, she was like, he called and asked to let me use your car. But he got a car. Why would you let him use your car when he got a car? And he wanted to go pick his son up. And I let him use my car. You know, we as content creators, we get a picture, we look at things, and then we start adding 1 + 1 = 2. Oh, that's got to be that. That's got to be this. That's got to be that. You know, even the prosecution says, you know, he looked for, you know, women, you know, they didn't really say it, but they kind of wanted to say it. And we picked up on that. Slow women, women with low, you know, confidence. No. You guys, Jarvis tried to talk to every woman that came in his past. Yeah. I truly believe that. Any woman that gave him the time of day. They didn't see, at first we were saying, oh, look at the women. The women are ugly. Not all of his women are ugly. I'm just going to tell y'all that. Y'all just don't like Shannon. Y'all just don't like Shannon. And then y'all heard Nay, and you say, oh, surely she's slow. She may have a low self-esteem because how people treated her in this world. But You know, never know. Anyway, not all the women that he had relationships were slow. Now, you got to look at it like this. I'm gonna just tell it like the TI is. Some of you guys gonna get mad at me, but it is the truth. Majority of women are slow. Even us. And I can't say you, I say us. So don't get mad at me. When it comes down to being in the presence of a man. You see, his fiance was like, she tried to take a picture with his face so she can open up his phone. Honey, if you already thinking it, something, you already know. To get proof. What proof do you need? You know what I'm saying? Like, anytime you put anybody in your life, you're going to always watch, especially when you have kids involved, you know? And if you don't want to be in a situation like that, I can tell you the best thing to do. And that's what I've done, you know? I've done it. Yeah. You're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to like it. You're by yourself or whatever. But you don't put people around your children. You just don't do it. My daughter came over today. We had a good conversation. And that's something that she said. She said, Mom, I seen you do everything. You know, you did everything. I didn't have my father around. There was no other man around. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Because, you know, I got trust issues, what they want to call trust issues. No, I don't have an issue. I just don't trust. I don't have trust issues. I don't trust. Not with when it comes to my kids. You can't make me. I don't care how good of a person you are. Because I know what can happen when I let my guard down. So I never did when it came down to my children. Like, I can't say I never did. Like, no, there's been times where I've had to make people get out of my life, you know, because nobody wants to be alone. Nobody wants to, you know, go through life alone. But people come in your life and you find out that you can't trust them, especially, you know, with your children. It makes life hard. They can show you good attributes at the beginning of a relationship, like a honeymoon relationship. They could show you, you know, they come home on time. They could show you they're not looking at another woman. They can help pay the bills or whatever. But you don't know what's in their mind and what their background, what they done went through to make them who they are. And somebody asked me the question the last time we was on here, was Monday. Was like, was there something that Jarvis's sister say that his background, like something had to happen? Yeah, things happen. You don't have a mom in the home. Your dad's not in the home. So your grandmother's raising you. Okay, you guys know when grandma raised children, she can't run as fast as, you know, a younger adult. So, you know, the kids is, you know, they come home or they don't come home or they come home late or whatever, you know. She's not outside watching them. She's probably in there baking cookies and cleaning the house, and she gets a fixed check. So, you're old enough to know your way around the block or two, and you like to play with your kids. You don't know what's going on with that child while he's in the neighborhood with other kids and other grown folks. You don't know what's happening. And you don't know if grandma had a boyfriend. You don't know. You don't know why they had to go live with their mom. I mean, their grandmother. You know? I mean, like I said, we spoke for 5 to 6 hours. So, you know, she said she didn't ever see anything. She didn't know nothing that could have happened to him or whatever, you know? But people just don't be born with those type of thoughts in their head to grow up to be a pedophile. They don't. You know what I'm saying? So I could say without a doubt something had to happen. Something triggered that person to have that acquired taste that he can have any woman that he want, but that's not what he wanted. He wanted women with kids. He wanted women with little girls. And then when he had the opportunity, it seems like every time he had the opportunity, he was doing something. And even though he went to jail the first time, that didn't stop him. He had a whole family with Shannon. First he dated Marquita, then he dated Shannon. And he got kids and kids and kids and kids and kids and kids and kids with Shannon. While at the same time he having kids with other women. At the same time. Shannon like, shoot, we just bedroom buddies. You know, if you think that is not, if you think that's normal to have a conversation and be protecting this man, because you got 5 kids by this man that got 13 kids. Why haven't your kids? And continue to have kids. You know, not buying your kids shoes, not going to their, school things or whatever. It seemed like him and Shannon went places and took care of the kids together. She was like, yeah, when we decide to him to pick up the kids at the bus stop when she couldn't or whatever. You can't put your mind around it. Some of you can. Because I know for a fact some of you guys live in that kind of environment. Yeah. You do. Now, I can tell you guys this, and you can get mad at me, but you can't really get mad at me because I came from an environment like that. Where, your mom's on welfare and she brings somebody in the home and they're trying to make it work and try to keep a roof over your head and food in your belly. And that's all they really worry about. And you live in a low income place. So everybody around you, everybody getting food stamps and everybody's getting WIC and everybody's getting commodities and everybody's wearing secondhand clothing and this, that, and the other. And, you can't really speak about anybody else because you're in the same boat. And your kids are going to go through some things. Whether you believe it or not, because you're in an environment that is just soaked with people with all different backgrounds that don't have enough money to be in a safer environment. So you become part of your environment. And so your kids are going to go through some stuff. So you got to try to get out of that environment. You can, the only way to get rid of the family bloodline curses and bloodline people want to say they bloodline curse, all the women, none of the women in the family marry. None of the women in the family have their, their kid's father around or something. Some things is just going to be out of your hands. You can't deal with it. Like, you done had a baby, and the father is, not trying to be there. He's doing whatever he want to do. He done hit it, and he done moved around or whatever. Okay, get over it. So what? Get over it. That don't mean go out searching for another man. Like my mother would always tell me, other men do not like to raise somebody else's child. Why? Not that they don't like the kid, but it just minds them that another man being in that woman's, sexual space. I'm just saying. So I'm going to say this, you guys. Whether you believe it or not, like, the best thing to do is, because you can't really make right decisions because you think you know, but you don't. People change, and things have happened to people when they were younger, and you don't know what you got. You don't know when something triggers and they want to touch the little girl. They want to touch the little boy. You don't know. You thinking everything is good because they're paying rent. And if you really want to know, just don't put nobody around your kids. Then now you know, ain't nobody touching them. And yeah, maybe it is hard to pay the bills by yourself. Maybe it is. But if you want to give your child, with the father of the child is not around, and I'm going to tell you something, that's not a guarantee either. Even if the child father is around, because you see what Jarvis did. He not only did other people's kids, he did his own. I'm saying you have a lower risk with the father being the father of the child. But you have high risk when you bring another man into a family and you have little babies. I'm just telling you guys the truth. You may not want to hear it, but it is true. And it's just best. Some people say somewhat of a man is better than no man, or a little bit of a dog is better than no dog, because you might get a bill paid, you might get transportation to work or whatever, and yet it does seem like it helps out. But that's a big price to pay when your child gonna have to deal with what they have to go through, because you never know what's in somebody's mind. You just don't. And then people get so mad at themselves, and then the kids, they grow up and they be like, you know what, I'm gonna say this, and don't get mad at me, but the truth of the matter is, the adults act like, the adults now, you and I, act like this is new. None of this is new. None of it's new. Trust me, none of it is new. People been doing stuff like this for a very long time. And they've been sweeping it under the carpet and acting like it didn't happen. Or what goes on in mama's house better not nobody. You better not talk about what goes on in this house. And then the adults get older, and then they have these issues. They be like, nobody would believe me, and this happened to me, and you don't know. And then they don't tell, and then they act like they carrying a big old secret that like nobody knows. No, they may not know the details, but trust me, It happens in everybody's family. You remember, you guys, let's hurry up and put this to rest. You remember when the drug, cocaine or whatever, crack, came and started hitting every low income housing where people can afford it. You know, a little $5 bump, a little $2 bump, or whatever. They just said at first when I grew up, it was Mary Jane. It was Mary Jane till I was like probably about 7, 8. That was the choice. Don't do this. Don't do that. Mary Jane is bad. Mary Jane don't do drugs. Matter of fact, Carter's wife came on there, Nancy Carter or whatever. She was like, don't do drugs. Drugs, just say no. That was the whole motto. Just say no and da 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 da. Then they came out with the cocaine when I hit around about 13 or something. It was maybe 4 or 5 years. Yeah, 13. And then that was the choice of what people were doing. And people were saying that once you do it, you can't get off. And everybody would laugh at the person that was on it, that they were running around looking like Pookie with the ashy lips and the bug eyes, done lost all the weight and all this other stuff. Some people even got on it because it made them lose weight quick and everything. Lost a lot, lost houses and cars and businesses, families. Nobody cared. They put them in the rehab and they just walk away from rehab and do it again and do it again and do it again and do it again. Because guess what? The world told them that once you do it, you can't get off of it. You just can't. And that was a lie. People started getting off of it, quit giving them their money and getting their life back, and realized that they can overcome it. Of course you can overcome it. Who told you you couldn't? Well, you listened to the world and thought you couldn't overcome it, but you could. Just had to say no, just like Nancy Reagan and all of them, and they would tell you, just say no. But now they got other stuff that's more powerful than that. So everybody that does stuff, it doesn't mean that they're on drugs or whatever. It was already in them, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? They just got a little bit of courage to do it. And so, you know, when you read the Bible, and this is not going to be a religious speech or anything, but there's reasons why you don't want to do the drugs and stuff, because you're not going to make a sound decision. You know, yeah, getting a little tipsy or whatever. You're like, and I ain't hurt nobody. When you have little kids, you've got to have your mind right at all times, especially if you're in a relationship with somebody that you let spend the night or come over or stay with you. You know what I'm saying? Because especially when you're young, when these women are young, I remember when I was young, I never wanted to live with a guy. But somehow, some way, they wiggled their way into my house. You know what I'm saying? And I look up and I'm like, why am I, like, what's up? Like, no, I'm not trying to live with a guy and they be around my kids and here I'm fighting with them and arguing with them. They ain't not even my kids' dad. And you know what I'm saying? And then they run in the streets like, no, I don't want that. But then you find yourself like, I'm in love with him and I don't want nobody else to. Let them have that person. Let them have them, because they're not getting anything. You can overcome. Exactly. Yeah. They put those stereotypes on you and make you think you can't overcome, but you can. But as far as women, when you have a child, a young child, you don't do it. And I know that is, you sitting there going, dang, I made a mistake and I had a baby and the baby daddy don't want to be with me. And so now I got to live alone, of course, to protect the child. Yeah, that's facts. Because you may end up with something you don't want. Trust and believe. You can end up with something you don't want. Not all men gonna come in your life and be like, yeah, let me go ahead and pay the rent. Yeah, let me make sure that your child is eating and everything. You're gonna be like, oh, I gotta go to work. Can you watch the kid for 30 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever? That's all it takes. Now you got a problem. Now the child got a problem. Then the child get older and be like, Mama, you remember you were dating such and such, and Mama, you remember when you married such and such, and you did. You gotta even watch the dad. You do. You even gotta watch the biological daddy, biological grandma, grandpa. You gotta watch them all. Cause I'm gonna tell you guys something. I was talking to a friend of mine's at work, and I was like, like, how you stay up at night and you watching your shows, your TV shows or whatever, and you just watching the shows, and then a Burger King commercial come on and you be like, dang, I was sitting here, I was content, but now I'm hungry. And that burger sure do look good right about now. That's probably the only place that's open. So I'm gonna get up, and this is what I just did the other night. Get up in the middle of the night. My husband say, where you going? I said, I'm gonna go to Burger King. I called them and they're still open. And I'm gonna go get me something to eat. I'm a little hungry. Well, there's reasons why that. Because you've been watching TV and this done came on about a burger and that done came on about a steak and some fries over there and some pie and some Snicker bars and whatever. Now I'm hungry. I wasn't hungry when I sat down to watch TV, but those little commercials are set up so that you as a consumer will spend money. And that's why people buy commercials, put them on at certain times, and they leave their business open. So, if they can get 10 or 12 people to come in a night, they done made rent. Anyway, nevertheless, what I was trying to tell you guys is exactly the subliminal messages that you get at night. If you notice, and just if you want to do, here's your homework for tonight. When you're watching TV, see, I usually watch a Netflix, so I'm watching a movie that don't have commercials, so I don't have to. I just really just don't watch TV. If you guys understand what I'm saying, like, I don't want the subliminal messages. I want to watch the movie, and that's it. It's just like going to the movies. I don't want to watch where I get the subliminal messages, but they're there. But if you watch TV, like my husband, he watches TV, and then you gotta realize something. And if you guys don't believe me, just Google it, and they'll show you a lot of commercials that come on, and there's a little glitch in that commercial, and it shows nudity. When you let your kids stay up and watch TV at night, even though you don't see the naked woman, it's just a snap like that. Or they will put on a commercial, full commercial paid for, if the state lets them, and you see part of the woman's boob or her neck or butt, she getting up. They don't call that nudity because you don't see the front, you see the booty. But kids are sitting there giggling. What you're giggling at? Actually, you have put that child in a bad environment. I tell my son all the time, y'all go to bed, make the child go to bed. You don't need to be staying up watching TV. Walt Disney is one of them. I'm just saying, allegedly. Because see, you'll get in trouble saying something about a big place like that. They'll do wipe off your whole channel. Be like, you can't even click on YouTube or anything anymore. Just like Trump said something about Tylenol. Tylenol stock went completely down. Said something about the woman that's buying property and she doing something. And yeah, you just need one person. Oprah said something about beef and they sued the heck out of her. But I'm just saying, Trump don't care. He giving them the run for the money. He's the president. He said Tylenol, don't give Tylenol to your babies. That's what Trump said. He said that's why they come out, pretty much being bad kids. Matter of fact, let me Google it real quick. So you guys watch TV. Trump tells the people about Tylenol. Trump links autism in Tylenol. Is there any truth to it? The painkiller Tylenol is one of the most widely taken drugs during pregnancy. That's what they tell the women to take. They tell you don't take anything else, right? Exactly. But during an announcement on Monday, the U.S. president repeatedly advised people don't take Tylenol, but scientists say that strong evidence between the medication and autism is lacking. Now, I'm going to say this, you guys, because you guys may not like what I say, but because you don't like Trump, okay? But I'm going to tell you guys something that is true. Now, he is a clown. He does say things to hurt people. He is very racist. And I get it. I get it. And I understand it. But I am going to tell you this. You don't have to like it. This is where people get things wrong at. Okay? And I'm going to share with you why I say what I say. Here's the thing. You know why Trump says the things he say? Okay? He's a clown. But is it true? Is there any evidence? He could not say it. He could not say it if it was not no truth. Now, everybody be like, well, he says a lot of stuff that ain't no truth behind it. But here's the thing. Listen to what I'm saying. Here's the thing. What would make him say that? Is it that he got no stock into Tylenol? Or why does he say it? Is he mad at somebody that owns Tylenol? Or is there some truth, but you don't want to believe it? So because you don't like Trump. Because if there's some truth to it, and he told you, but you don't want to listen, then you're pregnant with a baby. Well, we're not because we're older, but but here's the thing. If my daughter was pregnant, I would tell her, well, just don't take no more Tylenol. Try to take something else. Because I'm going to tell you something about Trump that I do know. He's a type of person, when he knows something, if he wanted to show that he's right about something, he just got to prove that there's some truth behind it. You guys understand what I'm saying? The reason why I say what I'm saying is, people always say, okay, y'all into religion, y'all into the Bible, you read the Bible, you understand the Bible, you went to church, you've heard all your life, the devil is a lie. The devil is a lie. The devil is a lie, and the truth ain't in him. The devil is a lie. Right? Here's the conception that you don't understand. The devil knows that Bible backwards and forwards. Okay? Okay. You got it? Now, here's the thing. When Jesus was in the wilderness, the devil was quoting the Bible to Jesus. Of course, what he said was true. If you throw yourself on this rock, surely the angels will make sure you won't even hurt your knee or whatever. Right? You know why? Because he wanted him to do it. Surely it would have, it was true. Was it a lie? No, it's not a lie. It's the truth. But he wants you to say, no, because you're a liar, which he is. But still, you know what I'm saying? But he wants you to prove it. What I'm saying to you is, so you can sit back and go, since you a liar, I'm not going to believe you. So I'm going to continue to take it. So since Trump is a clown and a racist, I'm not going to believe him. So I'm pregnant, and I'm not, Tylenol been around forever, but yeah, we have a lot of autistic people too. I'm just saying. So he can come back and say, well, I told you. Well, what is the wrong of doing this? You know what? It ain't going to hurt me if I'm pregnant. Well, say I'm not, and I can't be because, I'm too old and, got my tubes tied. But anything's possible. But anyway, but if I was, I'm going to tell you something. I would not take Tylenol. Not because Trump said it, because guess what? Why would he say it? So down the road, the Food Administration didn't come back and say he's lying. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, they didn't come back and say he's lying. There's no such as such. They can't. Because there could be some truth to it, right? So what I'm saying to you is don't get caught up because of the subliminal messages that all our life we've been taught that Tylenol is okay. So it's very hard to understand why now Trump is saying there's something going on with it. Actually, let me finish reading. It says the painkiller is one of the most widely taken drugs during pregnancy, used by roughly half of all pregnant people worldwide. But today, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration announced that it would slap a warning label on the drug, citing possible association between autism. See what I just said? See what I just said? Did you guys just not hear what I just said? The FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, did not slap Trump for saying what he's saying, but they're saying, what we're going to do is we're going to put a warning label on the drug that it says there's a possibility that's associated between autism in children and the use of the drug called Tylenol in the United States during pregnancy. I rest my case. I'm telling you, this man on something. He's one of those type of people you do not let in your surrounding circle, because if he can tell it, he's going to tell it. That's why the people are like, he's crazy, he's stupid. Yeah, he said some foolish stuff, but he wants to be right. So he's telling you something that you just cannot wrap around your head, that, oh, he's foolish. I'm going to tell you right now, I would not. I got Tylenol sitting right here, but I'm going to still take Tylenol because I need to. Ibuprofen, whatever. But I'm telling you, it's got to be some truth to it, because he wouldn't have said it. And I'm telling you why he said it is because he wants to be right. This man wants to be right about everything. It's not that, and people just don't like him because he's a clown. He's foolish. I just Googled it real quick just to see, and that's what it says. So that's what the FDA is doing. They're going to they announced that they will slap a warning label on the drug, citing a possibility of association between autism. So U.S. President Donald Trump, however, was not a nuisance in his language. Don't take Tylenol, he said repeatedly in a widely anticipated announcement about autism. Fight like HELL not to take it, he said. I wonder, there is no definite evidence to suggest that its use in mothers is a cause. And when you see any associations, they are very, very small. That's the chief executive of Autistical, a charity for autism research and campaigning in London, who is autistic. At the heart of this, people trying to look for simple answers to complex the problem. At today's announcement, U.S. Health Security Robert Kennedy Jr. acknowledged that autism has many possible causes. FDA Commissioner Martin noticed that in some cases, insufficient transport of the nutrient folate into the brain has been linked with traits common in autism. The FDA announced today that it would initiate approval of a form of folate called Lovicon for people with low levels of the vitamin in the fluid surrounding the brain and the spinal cord. But Kennedy, a longtime anti-vaccine advocate in Trump's, forced their attention on two other factors that they said would be linked to autism: Tylenol and vaccines. Decades of research have not uncovered a reproducible link between vaccines and autism. So the evidence does not support a causal link between antimonium vaccine of autism.
Well, she goes through the George and all this stuff.
Here. Nature examines the evidence for a link between it, which is used to treat fevers as well as pain. Okay. Scientists says that the most robust research has found no link. The better controlled studies are less likely to find even a risk. Working out whether there is a link between the drug and autism is difficult. They can't say it's not. And if they put that label on there, I'm going to tell you something about FDA. I'm going to tell you guys right now. Like, There's some stuff that FDA say when it say FDA approved, that means whatever the person is saying, like if it's weight loss, something you take it up for weight loss, and they say FDA approved, then take it. Then it's gonna work. It's they done proved it.
He stayed till 5 in the morning, and one of the nurses or whatever was trying to find a vein, and he kept on sticking her, so he was saying something to him about it, and they told him to leave the room.
Anyway, I just wanted you guys to understand, like, you may not like what I'm saying because you don't like Trump, but be careful. Like, when people come out on a big podium and into the whole world and say, hey, this is causing some autism, like, you can not like the person, but hmm, I want to see if their stock done went down, because trust me, I know it have Tylenol stock went down. This is Yes, the company that makes Tylenol stock went down by 17% in September of 2025 after reports about a potential government study trying Tylenol used during pregnancy to autism. The report suggests the stock was starting to recover by the end of the month. The cause of the decline was linked to reports in the Wall Street Journal about the Trump administration plans to release a report connecting Tylenol use during pregnancy to autism. Tylenol is owned by Kenvue Incorp, a separate publicly trading company that was split from Johnson and Johnson. The stock fell significantly after the news, but showed signs of rebounding, with some reports indicating a positive reaction at the opening of the following week. It says so. Tylenol makers, they're saying that it rebound. Tylenol maker Kenvue stock has lost a quarter of its value in September 22nd, 2025. It says stock went down 25% over the last 6 months as the company has worked against investors. Oh my God. So it climbed back 6% after September the 22nd to September the 23rd. Shares of the New Jersey-based company sank 7.5% on Monday. So why did stock prices suddenly drop? It says stock prices dropped suddenly due to factors like economy slowdowns, high inflation, changes in investors, which can lead up to panic selling and a decrease in demand for stock. This combined effort of negative news far in a shift from risk on to risk off investment strategies can create a feedback loop, further driving down prices. So Pfizer sold it to Johnson and Johnson, and Johnson's now with and let me see, I want to know, do Trump have a problem with Tylenol owners? Lawsuits against Tylenol makers get a boost after Trump. 2 days ago, Trump makes unimproved link between autism. The president wants to stem rising autism rates, even if it means pregnant women don't treat their pain and delay their kids. So they said a fact. When they said a fact, they said a fact. There's evidence suggests links between Tylenol and autism. And right here it says mountains. There is mounting evidence finding a connection. That is why the administration is courageously issuing this new health guideline. Additionally, the Trump administration is approving a new treatment option that has been found to improve some autism. President Trump pledged to address Americans' skyrocketing rates of autism, and his team is deployed gold standard scientists to deliver on this pledge. We will not be deferred to these efforts, as we know millions across Americans are grateful. It says today, Trump joined administration officials to announce major progress in understanding the root cause of autism, which has exploded in diagnosing over the past 2 decades, and unveil bold new initiatives to tackle the autism epidemic. It says predictable. The fake news immediately went into frenzy hyperventilation with their unusual smears, distorts, and lies. ADHD. People be like, I got ADHD. Anyway, you guys, let me see. John Hopkins University taking Tylenol during pregnancy associated with elevated risk for autism, ADHD. John Hopkins University, Harvard University, using Tylenol during pregnancy may increase children's autism and ADHD risk. These are some really powerful allegations, which I like John Hopkins like school, so and Harvard school. So Mount Sinai study supports the evidence that prenatal Tylenol use may be linked. They can't come on here and say this and it's not. I'm just saying, you guys, they can't. So take it with a grain of salt, but I'm just telling you, you can believe it or not believe it. Like sometimes, when people say stuff or you see for them what they are, that's what they are. They are what they are. Like if you see a snake, you can't sit there and go, yeah, but it ain't gonna bite me. I'm gonna take it home and make it a pet. No, it's a snake. Its whole design is to do what it do. Like if somebody tell you something can harm your kids, or this is why you have your kids and you got ADHD, or you didn't get it because like they're saying that it's linked to it. Like they're finding studies that it is doing something to the brain. And so, I'm just saying. My doctor just told me, quit taking ibuprofen and take Tylenol. Garrett, please. And see, I can care less for Trump. I'm just saying.
Yeah, she wants to know what's going on and stuff.
So
Yeah, she been like she been up there. So yeah, she wants to know what's going on.
you never know. Anyway, I'm gonna get off of here, you guys. I will see you guys Friday. We will have some more information, but he did get some more charges, and I haven't had time to go look at them, but it's all good. It's all good. You guys be good, be great, and be nice to each other. Bye.